Joining me this morning for 10 minutes of calm. Our daily little show where we just try to get ourselves centered and thinking about some of the bigger, more important things of life. What we've been doing is we've been working our way through the book of Genesis and working our way through a biblical commentary that's canonical in the new church. It's a series called Secrets of Heaven, written by Emanuel Swedenborg. And today we're going to look at this beautiful line, just the meaning on the surface of it. And there's a number of times where God gives these promises to Abram or Abraham at this point. And this is an ancient patriarch, thousands of years old, and God promises him. That's why they call it the promised land. We still use that phrase today. He gives him these promises. And this is where he talks about the promise again. This is Genesis 17:7. And God said, I will set up my pact between me and you and your seed after, throughout their generation, as an eternal pact to be God to you and your seed after you. And I was thinking about that, after coming, and this is a little more biographical in nature. I was thinking about that passage this morning and then thinking about the experience of this past weekend. The experience of this past weekend was going out to the Pittsburgh area to do a family wedding. And there was a point in time in the reception afterwards where it just was like, oh, this is so beautiful. The weather was nice. The couple was beautiful and lovely. It was an absolute joy to be there. Susan and I were having a great time, and it just struck me, oh yeah, this is that generation to generation thing. This is how the pact keeps on moving on. And that's really significant because I think a lot of the time we make decisions in the present, like what's good for me now. And that's a good place to be thinking. That's where we have to think actually a lot of the time. So there's also a place, what's good for me now, being joined to what's good for us later. Again, what's good for me now, what's good for us later. And that idea of really thinking through what's good for us later, that generational thing. And it's not that my particular family was without blemishes or challenges or arguments or hard feelings or any of that. It was a blended family and all that goes with that. And parents who were very busy a lot of the time, all that goes with that. Very competitive kids, all that goes with that. Like there were all kinds of things there, right? But then we have these moments where it's just like, oh, there was something that was passed on generation to generation here. There was something that moved past just what's good for me to what's good for us. And that idea of moving towards what's good for us and thinking of that in the long term is something I think we all can think of, because that's where God kind of sets up the promise in so many ways, is we're to think of not just the immediate, but we're to think of the future and what do we want to pass on to the next generation. For some people, that does deal with grandkids, not for everybody, that's sure. And so if it deals with grandkids and great grandkids, that's something to think about. And also important to realize that it just deals with generation to generation. Not everybody has grandkids. And so what does it look like? Like, what's the legacy that you want to leave generationally for those who come after you? So that's kind of what I wanted to share today is thinking through that, thinking about that. What's good for me now, what's good for us later. How do we do that? And that's beyond just planning it's beyond estate planning. It's something actually much more important. And when you see it, when you see that generational tie or that community tie going, just know that is part of the pact, and notice it. I mean, so much of this past Sunday service focused on the concept of celebration and gratitude, and there's a lot to celebrate there. There's a lot to be grateful for there as we continue to move on with our lives. So that is my thought for today, dear friends. I hope that makes a lot of sense and gives you a little thing to do today. What's good for me now, what's good for us later. Have that conversation with a loved one or with yourself or with me. If you would like to shoot me a note on that, that's always warmly welcomed. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little breath and we're going to slow this down. When we do this part of the service, this is just for those of you joining us the first time, this is just a way we come to a more meditative spot. And then we will take a look on social media for any comments you folks have left. You're more than welcome to leave them. Most people watch this archive. You're more than welcome to leave them later as well. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. A line from the Old Testament. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's give a little cheery hello to folks here. And again, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, week ahead of you, actually, I should say here. All right. Okay. Sherry, good morning to you, and I hope you are doing well today. Now let's flip on to the New Church Live page. Here we go. All right, number comments over here. Linda, good morning to you. And Marcus, good morning to you. Very good thought. Well, thank you, Linda. It's an important one, right? Like I just think generationally. I remember, years ago reading something about Native American culture was big on thinking, how's this decision going to impact, again, 2 generations down the road, which is kind of a very different way of thinking and certainly a beautiful way of coming at life. So, friends, wishing you all the very best. God bless. May you have a great day. And just a little closing word on how much we appreciate your support in New Church Live. Like our content? It's funded by viewers like you. Please consider becoming a sustaining supporter of New Church Live today. All right, dear friends, take care. Have a wonderful day.